Now that we have a fair amount of background about the field of data science and how it came into existence, let's take a shot at formally defining data science. Now, this is a complicated process because there's actually no formal definition for data science. If you Google the topic, you'll actually come across several of them, and probably all of them will be right. It's actually a long debate to understand which will be the best one. So let's take a shot at giving the most layman explanation for the field of data science. In the simplest term, data science can be defined as the art and science of making data-driven decisions. This may sound a little fancy, but then let's understand the crux behind it. The process of making data-driven decisions is actually a little complicated. Now, if there's an art, if we understand that complexity, we can actually make it less complicated. So, the process of making data-driven decisions in a relatively structured way can be defined as data science. But this field is actually very interdisciplinary and requires a combination of skills that have never been leveraged in the industry together. We'll actually take a deeper look at this once we come back to by understanding what are these skill sets. So it's a combination of primarily three skills: math, business, and technology. Math could be statistics, linear algebra, probability, and many more. Business is actually the domain knowledge of that system. So for example, let's say we're trying to solve a problem for an e-commerce giant like Amazon. So profound knowledge of the e-commerce industry is actually important to understand before we try to solve the problem. And lastly, technology. This is basically programming and hacking skills. It could be any technology skills like C, C++, Java, Python, R, or many more. We'll get into the depth of what technology do we use here specifically very soon. Now, the modern definition for data science actually adds in several more new skills apart from math, business, and technology. So, design thinking, behavioral science, cognitive intelligence, and many more. Thus, it actually becomes a truly interdisciplinary field. Let's understand this in a little depth. So initially, we had the industry which was primarily banking on a combination of two skill sets. It could be any of them. So let's say if we take into account math, business, and technology, math and business together created the consulting industry. So McKinsey, Booz and Hamilton, A.T. Kearney, all these large consulting companies which we came across in the last slide actually solved the problem by combining business and math. And that is the reason why they actually solved problems in a very heuristic approach way. We then have a combination of business and technology. So companies like Infosys, TCS, Cognizant. These are companies who are typically known for their IT services. And they actually solve a specific problem by combining business and technology together. Technically, if you look at the previous slide, it actually refers to the high frequency and low impact area. Finally, we have companies who solve math and technology skills together. So these are companies which create amazing products. Adobe, NVIDIA, and so many more. So Adobe Photoshop is actually a simple example to understand skills of math and technology being combined together. There's definitely a lot more, but then primarily we have math and technology over there. But then when we have these three skill sets together, math, business, and technology, that's the area where magic is created, and we call that data science. It's definitely interdisciplinary, and with today's definition, it's truly interdisciplinary. Now, as you come across the term data science, you'll actually understand a lot of different terms that are associated with data science. A couple of them actually are referred over here. You come across terms like natural language processing, decision science, neural networks, deep learning, data mining, data analysis, and probably many more. These are just a couple of them. The list is a long one. We'll take a look at understanding how are they organized. In a simplest way, data science, since we define this as the process of, as the art and science of making data-driven decisions, data science will be the larger umbrella which covers everything. Within data science, we have this important and significant field of artificial intelligence, which got very popular in recent years. Machine learning is actually a subfield within artificial intelligence. And deep learning is analogous to the modern neural networks or the cool stuff which we see in chatbots, Siri in iPhone, Google now on Android, and so on. All that cool stuff, self-driving cars, all those cool stuff happen over here, which is deep learning. Deep learning is actually a subfield within machine learning. Now, this entire process needs a couple of other elements to process and tailor data. And that's when we have data plumbing, data engineering, data visualization, data wrangling. Data plumbing is, in a nutshell, defined as sourcing and pipelining data into a source required for the process. So you'll have data across several different locations. You need to plumb them together, just like you plumb for a water resource, and then put them together in a way that they start a process, flow, and reach the destination as and when required. Like you plumb the process. Once the data is plumbed, you actually clean, process, transform the data to a more usable format. In a nutshell, it's called data engineering. You need to understand the data, so you visualize the data. You have several ways to go and visualize the data. Once you visualize the data, you'll probably need to make it analytical ready so that you can do some analysis on that. The process of converting data into a more analytically ready data set is actually data wrangling. A very fancy term, but then all of these together, along with AI, machine learning, and deep learning, together form data science.